To welcome all of you to our meeting. This is our regular school board meeting. We need to establish the agenda first, so do you have a motion for that?
Move we establish the agenda as published.
Second.
All in favor of establishing the agenda as published, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. At some point, we should talk about how to incorporate those perhaps into the kind of procedural rules, but this moment is not that moment. Next we've got recognition.
Great. Well, it's been a long time coming. Asha, if you want to join me up here. As you know, and you had a chance to meet her briefly, Asha is going to be our new junior board rep, representing Mercer High School alongside Mr. Andrew Hallison. And so tonight I have the privilege of swearing you in, and then you'll be taking your spot here. And I know that you have a soccer game tonight, so
Yes.
we know you'll be out of here pretty quickly.
So I'm not going to that tonight.
Oh, you're not?
Yeah, over here.
Well, welcome. So I'll just repeat after me. I'll break it into segments, okay? I, Asha Warner,
I, Asha Warren,
having been selected to be a student representative on the board of directors of Mercer Island School District,
have been selected to be a student representative on the board of directors for Mercer Island School District.
do solemnly affirm
Do solemnly affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
and responsibilities of this office to the best of my ability
and responsibilities of this office to the best of my ability,
and as prescribed by board policy and procedure 1250.
and as prescribed by board policy 1250.
Congratulations. Here. And then we'll take a picture of your option.
David, can we have you on this side just for symmetry? 3 and 3. Thank you. 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
All right. Now we have quite a log jam of recognitions for our students that are going to begin at this meeting, and then we're going to continue on several meetings because of such a successful spring that our students had academically and on the athletic fields. And we also have some individual achievements that came in over the summer. So I'd first like to begin with a recognition of Ava Ye. And so Ava, if you want to come on up, you can come right to the podium there. And while Ava's coming up, we're going to put up an image. There it is. So board of directors, we were contacted this summer by Toyota of America and the Toyota Dream Car World Art Contest. It was first held in 2004. And it seeks to inspire creativity in youth and give children around the world a hands-on experience to feel the joy and importance of having dreams. The contest also gives children an opportunity to develop an interest in cars by encouraging their innovative ideas for future mobility. This year was the 15th anniversary of the contest, and it garnered 530,000 entries from 79 countries in 3 age group categories. From March 2001 to February 2022, the national contest was held internationally. The winning artwork from the national contests were submitted to be judged for the world contest. And in May of this year, besides the Toyota Corporation, art experts and automotive specialists from outside Toyota judged the entries and selected the grand finalist winners in 3 age categories. I'm pleased to tell you and our community, the grand finalist winner in the 12 to 15-year-old category with an artwork titled Toyota Dream Orchestra which you can see on our two screens, is Mercer Island High School junior Ava Ye. Judges commented on Ava's artwork that they were impressed by the skill and energy of the person who painted this picture. In a world where music and mobility merge, I wanted to move pleasantly amongst the grasses and flowers. The judges also had general evaluation of the artwork, and they felt that there was a more expansive view of the world by all of their artists who competed this or participated this year. For being selected, the grand finalist, Toyota has awarded Ava an $8,000 scholarship and awarded Mercer Island School District and Mercer Island High School $10,000. Do we present tonight or tomorrow?
We were gonna do that tomorrow.
Perfect. So tomorrow at the high school, Ava, we will have Mr. Kelly and others that will join you and present you with the award that they have sent us in honor of your incredible artwork. So I want to give you the chance now, if you have any friends or family members in the audience you want to introduce, and then tell us a little bit about your art.
Thank you so much again for all of this recognition. And basically my piece was inspired by one of my passions, which is music. I do a lot of stuff with art, but one of my main passions is music, and I play the harp, and that was basically one of the main elements of my vehicle. And I basically just wanted to inspire more engagement with classical music and orchestra music instruments. That's just a little bit about my piece. Thank you.
Congratulations. You want to do a picture? You want her to come front or just behind?
I think the front works.
Okay.
Yeah, is that what you said?
Where's the switch mark? So let me get that shot. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Thank you.
Congratulations.
The next group I'd like to recognize. What's that? Okay. Is our boys soccer team. The Mercer Island High School boys soccer team defeated Lakeside 3-1 on May 28th at Sparks Stadium in Puyallup to win the school's first 3A state championship for soccer. The state championship was a great accomplishment for the boys team, as they have been runners-up 4 times, most recently in 2016. Joining us tonight is head coach Forrest Morowitz, who is here with us tonight. And we thought we were going to have team captain, but I know you have a number of seniors who graduated and others who have other sports as well tonight. To get to the championship game, our boys were seeded 12th and had to come back from a 2-goal deficit against Monroe in the semifinals. And they scored twice in the last 5 minutes for a 3-2 win to advance to the championship game. And in that championship game, Lakeside tied the game 1-1 with 5 minutes left. As someone who was there, there certainly could have been a bit of defeat there, but our boys jumped right back and scored 2 more goals before the final whistle. So turn it over to you, Forrest. Tell us a little bit about the team, and congratulations to you and all the players.
Thanks, Fred. Yeah, like you mentioned, it's the first championship in our school's history, and we've had quite a storied high school program. Tons of great teams and great players, and as a former alumni and someone who tried to get that first championship myself, it was pretty cool to see the guys dedicate themselves throughout the whole season. It doesn't come down to just that final weekend, it's an entire season worth of work, and a lot of these guys going into that spring season, they're dealing with college stuff, they're dealing with SATs and ACTs, and the amount of dedication that they have to put in throughout an entire season is, it's pretty incredible, and I think it speaks to our program and the rest of our coaching staff, who all take a lot of time out of their other work schedules to really devote some time in during the spring season, and to see this group of guys do it, especially, I mean, this was our first full season back after our COVID hiatus, and we had kind of an abridged season last year, and that team, which was just as fantastic of a team, didn't get to go to a state tournament, and so a lot of what we talked about throughout the season was, you know, performing for those guys and for the community, and that group of boys right there, they were excited to take on the challenge, and we believed in ourselves the whole way, regardless of what seed we had, and they deserve it. So we're excited to have brought the first banner into the school gym, and every year at the beginning of the season, we always walk into the gym and we talk about what's missing and what we want to put up there, and these were the guys to get it done. So couldn't be happier.
Congratulations. If you can wait just a bit, we'll do all the recognitions, and then why don't we have each one come up with the board together, so we don't have to rearrange each time.
Sure.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Great. Next, I'd like to recognize our students who participated in the Health Occupation Students of America last year. If you want to come on up here, and I know we have two of our coaches. We have Carly Tallman and Jamie Cook. So if you want to come on up to the podium. So, as I said, HOSA, which stands for Health Occupation Students of America, is a nationally recognized organization that allows students interested in health careers to compete in many different categories. We've had a HOSA chapter since 2018-19, but I believe did we have one before and then it kind of faded away and it's come back, or did we really start 18-19?
We really did start, actually,
Okay.
Washington State was a little bit late on that, having HOSA as part of it, but it is a very large organization nationally.
Great. So this past spring, we had 30 MIHS students participate in HOSA and the state leadership competition. 6 students placed in the top 10 at the state championship for their category. We had first place for health in informatics was Divya Krishnamurthy. In third place for the medical math was Mia Donald Paladino. 5th place for biomedical laboratory science was Nandini Mishra. 9th place dental science was Chloe Yang. 9th place medical assisting Robert Selden. And 10th place cultural diversities and disparities in healthcare was Divya as well. So besides the state championship performances, last year, the MIHS HOSA increased their membership from 30 members to 40 and had the largest membership they've ever had, including 7 freshmen. They've coordinated with the American Physical Therapy Association in King County to bring guest speakers to MIHS for lunch talks, which filled the room with standing room only during both lunches. 2 of the members that placed in the top 3 at state and qualified to compete in HOSA International Leadership Conference in Nashville, Tennessee, one of which was able to travel there and compete, and that was Divya. For this school year, other than focusing on the competitions in March, HOSA is planning to organize interactive activities during club meetings before and after the competition relating to healthcare careers. We're joined tonight by a number of our participants, as well as our 2 coaches and advisors, Jamie Cook and Carly Tallman. So Jamie and Carly, I'll turn it over to you, and then our students can introduce themselves and talk a little bit more.
I'm Jamie Cook. I'm just ecstatic at the accomplishments of these students. It is a student-run organization. The officers all here for this year, they do everything. They plan the meetings, they create goals, they inspire the others, they come up with ways to be able to prepare for their competitions. And I'm just amazed at all that they do. This is all outside of their academics. There's no grade. This is all related to their passion, related to healthcare. And we've got a phenomenal group of officers this year. We've already had our first officer meeting. Our first meeting for the whole group is next week. And I've already had students stop me in the hall who are part of it, like, when's our first meeting? And so the excitement that they have and the passion is truly inspiring.
So students, if you would introduce yourselves, if you have a family member who's joined you tonight, and maybe a few words about what you hope for the year ahead, but congratulations.
I'm Sasha and I'm treasurer.
I'm Angeline and I'm president.
I'm Sophia, I'm the vice president.
And I'm Chloe and I'm the secretary. I'm Nandini, I won the medical science.
Robert, I won the nursing assistant.
It wasn't that long ago that our DECA group was about kind of that 30 to 40 range, and then it really took off. I know there's a lot of passion and interest in the organizations like this. Congratulations on your accomplishments, and we're looking forward to March, hearing what you do next. So thank you, Jamie and Carly, appreciate it as well. So our next recognition, our last one for this meeting anyway, is going to be lacrosse and our girls lacrosse team, who also brought home a state championship last spring. So much hard work went into the year, and our Mercer Island girls lacrosse team last spring turned in that lacrosse state championship. The team went into the 16 tournament field as the #1 seed. MIHS coach Lindsay Gillis felt her team played a near perfect game in defeating Issaquah High School 15-3 to win the state championship on May 20th at the Starfire Sports Stadium. Some highlight from the championship game included Molly Brodsky, who has graduated, being named the most valuable player of the game with 5 goals, 3 draw controls, and 3 forced turnovers. Junior Erica Kierstead had 4 goals and 1 ground ball, and senior Ren Novak had 4 saves and 1 ground ball. The Islanders had a very impressive regular season record, going 15-1, scoring 228 goals, and while only conceding 68 goals. Coach Gillis told the Mercer Island Reporter, "I cannot be more proud of this group of young women." Joining us tonight from the team is Coach Lindsay Gillis, Jamison Drayton, Kate Nordstrom, Chelsea Cho, and Ashley Chapin. Coach, I'll turn it over to you, and then we'll hear from our student athletes.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This is our second state championship, and I think it's worth noting that prior to last season, we lost 12 seniors, and so these 4 young women, along with their teammates, had big shoes to fill. Every single starting position and starting player was new in the spring of 2022, excuse me, and we had a transformative season from game 1 to game 16. And so, like I said, I couldn't be more proud of this group. I think it's also worth mentioning that these 4 are here today because they represented the state of Washington at nationals at U19s in May. They all competed and played very, very well, competing against some of the best teams in the country. And they also helped lead our team in the high school national championship over the summer, which was the first time. It's an invitation only, and only 2 teams from the West Coast participated. So did very, very well.
So our student athletes, if you want to introduce yourself, if you have a parent or family member or friend in the audience you'd like to recognize, and then we'd love to hear from you.
I'm Jamison Drayton. I'm going to be a senior this year. I was captain last year, and I'm going to be returning captain again this year. And I'm just really excited for this season and hopefully to bring back another state championship.
I'm Ashley Chapin. I'm also a senior this year. And just like Jamison said, I'm hoping to repeat.
I'm Kate Nordstrom. I'm also a senior at Lane's Hat. And yeah, hoping to get a second state championship.
My name is Chelsea Cho. I'm a sophomore, and like everyone else said, I'm hoping for a second state championship.
Well, congratulations to you as well on an awesome year and hanging another banner. So congratulations. Board, why don't we have, go to our
Here. Oh, this way, yeah.
You're not gonna be able to get us all in yet.
We need 2 rows.
Yeah.
Maybe the more nimble among us should go
Like
down
further
on
back.
1 meter. And that's not me. There we go.
That works. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. That was.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you guys.
Pose, I got the same
Oh, wait,
before
stay
sitting
here.
here.
Go backwards.
Okay, we'll take care of that.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, perfect. Thank you. And switch.
All like, you know.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And one more round of applause.
We're going to switch to public input, but if you were here for recognition and you don't want to stay for our no doubt fascinating meeting, feel free to take a moment if you want to step out or leave or whatever. And then after public input, we'll take it out. Yeah. We're not in Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. We have 7 people signed up for public input. The first one is Tani Lindquist. Woo. Oh, sorry, I forgot to do the thing. Give me a moment. Oh, sorry, thank you, sorry. This meeting is a meeting of the board in public. It is not a public meeting that guarantees interaction between members of the public and members of the board. If you want to address the board, you can complete a form, et cetera, you can also do it online. When addressing the board at the meeting, please limit your remarks to not more than 3 minutes. Appoint a spokesperson if the concern is a group concern, and if desired, you may provide written documentation to the board secretary. Public comments that name or otherwise identify a district student are not permitted without permission of that student's parent or legal guardian. The board may direct the superintendent to respond at a later date to the issues expressed. Okay, now we have it.
Good evening, I'm Tani Lindquist. I work at Lake Ridge Elementary School, and I'm here to speak about the collective bargaining agreement and the ongoing bargain. So here we are in our second week with students, and we still don't have a tentative agreement. I can't think of a time when we haven't settled a contract at least by the time the students came to school. And we don't have anything 2 weeks in. Our bargaining team has been extremely collaborative and MIEA members incredibly patient. Our patience is wearing thin. We recognize there is a tight budget. We warned the previous superintendent and some of our school board members that for years, we knew the budget office was in disarray. As a result, we know we can't compete with those districts that are offering 7, 8, 9, 10, 11% raises. We know that, but that doesn't mean that you can't make every effort to be as creative as possible to stay in the game. And when you can't compete financially, you can work towards having contract language that shows that you honor and respect the professionalism of your staff. You have the power to end this bargain now. You should be directing your bargaining team to do everything they can to work with MIEA to enhance the collective bargaining agreement and create other ways to make this district a place that will attract and retain the quality staff that we have. You can tell your bargaining team to agree to changes, contractual changes that enhance the contract, that reduce workload and increase undirected time so that we can focus on our core work, which is meeting the needs of our kids. Because I have such regard for each of you, I am confident that you recognize that the past 3 years have been really hard on our students and our families. And I'm also confident that you also recognize it has been really hard on your staff. Like our students, we are still recovering from the trauma of the past 3 years. And every day you extend this bargain, it sends the message that you don't really care about us. Demonstrate, please, that you care about us, that you want to be able to attract and retain the great staff that we have here. Tell your bargaining team to end this bargain now. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Shane Paladin, who is on Zoom. Just promoting you, Shane.
Shane, go ahead and turn your camera and mic on.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. Hello, my name is Shane Paladin. I'm the parent of 2 children at Island Park who receive additional learning services provided by the Special Education Department. Now, I have deep respect for the educators on the ground, many of which I see there in the room with you. And daily they work with what they have, which at times is not enough to maximize our children's learning. It's the consistency of this effort that truly does make the difference, and I thank them greatly. However, there's a constant turnover in the special education staff over the last 2 years. And for us, it's now continuing into the 3rd. At Island Park, we're now on our 6th special education teacher in the last 24 months. Now, other parents I know have experienced far more change than what I just outlined. Now, what is concerning as a parent is that this communication on this issue is silent, and it appears that there's no acknowledgement or accountability to fix this issue. This level of turnover seems to speak to a larger problem. Now, I'm seeking to understand what plan, if any, is in place to retain and grow special educators so they actually see a future in our school district. We seem able to attract talent, but they don't stay. And there is a constant in this equation, both administrative and organizational, that seems to be beyond reproach. Now, turnover takes a heavy tax on the mainstream classroom teacher. It also puts the children at a great disadvantage for learning, and it erodes trust between parents and the special education organization as a whole. I and many other parents look forward to understanding what the school district will do to remedy this severe situation. And I'm personally requesting additional oversight of the special education program from this board to understand and address the root cause of the problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Kate Yoder.
Hi, I'm Kate Yoder. I'm a high school math teacher and the current math department chair. I've been at this district since 1999. Took 2 years off of kid, but I've been here. In all of those years, I have never been as concerned as I have been for our counseling staff as I was this last spring and still continue to be. I think that this was justified as we had 4 of our 5 counselors leave. Many of them had only been with us for 1 or 2 years. We had our registrar leave, who had only been there for 1 year. While I can't encapsulate all of the jobs that they do, a few of them that tend to come to mind, they take care of all of the scheduling. In the last 2 weeks at the start of the school, there have been 1,100 requests for a schedule change out of 1,500 students. Most high schools have college and career readiness centers, not housed in the counseling, just the counselors running that. For example, one of our counselors came from Mount Vernon. They have 5 college and career staff and 8 counselors for 1,900 students. We've been asked to collect data by the state on the well-being, the health and well-being, mental well-being of our students. This is going to have ramifications for our students who are in crisis and need intervention that the counselors are going to be asked to take on. The number of 504s in our district is probably higher than any other surrounding districts. This then again makes it about 50 per counselor that then has to go through the writing, the meetings, etc. They're in charge of making sure the NADIANS, high school and beyond plans get done. They write college letters of rec. They do graduation checks. All of this has to get done before what in my mind is their most important job, and that is making connections and personal relationships with our students. When I look at the caseload that our counselors have right now, it is about a little over 300 to 1. And the current SBA says that that could be as much as 350 to 1. The American School Counselors Association, National Association of College Admissions Counseling, and the American Counseling Association all recommend 250 to 1. Washington State House Bill 1265 is giving funding starting this year to districts at a ratio of 250 to 1. I believe appropriate staffing must be a priority for our counseling department, and that this will provide stability, increase responsiveness, and provide students accessibility to counselors. Thank you for your time.
Alice Larkin.
Hello again. Y'all have heard from me before. I'm Alice Larkin, 6th grade language arts drama teacher, IMS. To say I'm angry is an understatement. Our administration is some of the highest paid in our state. They even gave themselves a raise in the spring. A raise before any of us got one. And we are still waiting for. Those optics are downright bad. And then almost the entire finance department up and quits when they knew that they were going into bargaining. And then it's discovered that no one can figure out the finances. Seriously? And where was leadership through all this? Whose job was it to hold the district accountable? And these folks got raises on top of their huge salary. That's a slap in the face. Yet our staff who work closest with students are yet again among the lowest paid compared to our colleagues in the surrounding districts. How can we claim Mercer Island is one of the best school districts when staff is leaving left and right because they are tired of the same song and dance? How is it possible for district funds to have been so badly mishandled and no one knew about it? As a teacher, I'm held accountable in everything I do. No staff member would keep their job if we had botched it so badly. It's obvious the system y'all created doesn't work. It's badly broken. Yet we keep doing it year after year. But where's the accountability? We hear we're hiring a great guy who will help us clean it up, but why should we trust that? It wasn't until a few weeks ago that the district was able to provide actual data on where the money was and in which pots. I have wonderful students. They make me laugh, they make me think, they bring me joy. My colleagues are among the most educated and brilliant group of people I know. I feel supported and respected by the principals at IMS. But I am exhausted and fed up with this district that shows such utter disrespect to all the staff who work with students every day. So yes, I'm angry. In fact, I'm enraged at what is happening. We deserve a fair contract now, one that reflects the hard work we have done and do. Y'all need to get your house in order, but not on our backs. We can't take it anymore. Thank you.
Keith Motter.
Good evening, everybody. I've been here a couple of times before, but it's been a while. So my name is Kate Motter. I work at the middle school. I'm also a 6th and 7th grade language arts and social studies teacher, and I love my job. I really do. There's something so special about watching a person grow up. It's also really surreal because you really do mark the passage of time when you have to look up to see your former students' faces. I've had the pleasure of educating some of your children, and I share in the joy of your children's success. I'm also really good at my job. I can get kids excited about commas, folks. I can ask them to imagine utopias, and they collectively inspire each other to create the most incredible ideas. It is a privilege to be an educator and to work so closely with people who have much bigger ideas than we ever did at their ages about how the world should be. But I can barely afford to be a teacher, especially in the Seattle area where rent is now half of my paycheck. I can't afford to live on the island, and the commute's gotten even more expensive. The fact that Mercer Island isn't really offering competitive pay feels like an insult. I'm going to go where my time is most valued. I have to, I can't afford not to. My time is valuable and I demand to be valued. At this point, I expect this will be my last year working for Mercer Island School District. I have lost confidence in the district's leadership and I don't see evidence the district values me or my colleagues. I want to remind y'all, we showed up for kids during COVID-19. We learned how to teach remotely while teaching remotely, and it was hard. We came back to in-person learning before most schools did, and it was scary, and it was hard. And hybrid learning forced us to reinvent our jobs again, and we did it. We can do difficult things. We deserve to be compensated for the incredible and difficult work that we do. I love my job. I love the people I work with. I love my students, but I don't have any confidence that by the end of the bargaining period, the district will make any changes that will keep me and people with my circumstances here. And I hope you prove me wrong. Thank you.
Next speaker is Dana Levy on Zoom. Dana, can you turn your mic and your camera on when you're ready?
Yes, sorry, hang on.
We can see you now. Thanks.
Okay, great. 1 second, something's flashing. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak before the board, staff, and community again. My name is Dana Levy, 30 years loyal with Mercer Island School District, 28 as a school bus driver beginning this year. Experts say it's always best to begin a talk or other communications with a hook, garnering my audience's attention. My hooks are my coworkers, most directly school bus drivers, but I also speak for all classified and certificated staff when I say that, like you, We all deserve a living wage, one that can exist in the face of an 8 to 10.1% inflation rate. Will 3.2 to 5.5 help? Yes, of course. It's not going to get us ahead, but it'll keep us afloat. I don't have time for individual stories. I have time for some hard facts. Every school district in the United States is desperately searching for school bus drivers, including ours. We currently have 19 bus routes, 18 drivers, and 5 regular subs. All drivers are committed to island transportation only. All students requiring out-of-district transportation receive it via car service. I can't recall the cost. It's many thousands of dollars. We lost 6 drivers by the end of the 21-22 school year. Only 1 became a sub, and that's temporary. I'm not sure what my department is going to do when I ask to take a couple of weeks off to help my daughter and son-in-law when they bring in their little baby girl to the world in January. I do know it's going to be a very expensive year for me, 2023. Experts say that the fastest way to lose an audience is to start dousing them with statistics, but the facts are the facts. Here you go. Bellevue School District offers their school bus drivers the following: attendance bonuses, as much as $550 a year, a longevity stipend, 1 to 3 years with the district, $500, 20 plus years with the district, $3,000. These bonuses are paid every year on an incentive basis. Sign-on bonuses, $1,000 paid incrementally on condition of the completion of training and their probationary period. Referring drivers receive $500 bonuses once that new driver is certified. Current drivers receive, receive pay for their bidding hour that they do. This is just a smattering of their benefits. And do note that the regular pay is only slightly less than ours. Issaquah School District offers very similar incentives, including attendance and longevity and referral bonuses, and a minimum of 4 hours a day for sport or field trip, and full remuneration of sick leave balances, not 25 cents on the dollar as we do. Renton,
You're out of time if you want to just
am I?
wrap it up a little bit.
What do you know? Okay. The list goes on and on. Mercer Island School District is not recruiting new drivers because we have no incentives. If you really want us, show us. If you want to keep us, show us. If you want to fill new open positions, incentivize people, respect us, all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Sorry.
Just quickly, if you also want to speak tonight, just make sure that you filled out one of these forms, not just signed in. So if there's anyone else who wants to speak tonight, you can fill one out and give it over to Michelle as we're moving forward.
Thank you. Julie, I'm sorry, I don't know how to. Okay. Thank you.
All right, good evening, board. Thank you for giving me the time to speak tonight. I'm here to talk about mask wearing for staff at school. So I am an unvaccinated staff member. I work at Northwood, and I was told just last week on the second day of school that I needed to start wearing a mask because I am not vaccinated. I understand we had to do this last year. That was fine. I understood it was what we had to do. And so I'm here tonight to tell you why I'm not happy about that decision to make the unvaccinated wear a mask. I think that's the wrong decision, and I don't think it's fair. So I went online and I printed the latest guidelines from DOH from August 10th. And I'm just gonna read it. It says the guidance takes lessons, ... It's an outline both for required and recommended measures for the 22-23 school year. And underneath that, it shows the recommendations and guidances or requirements. None of which it says anything about mask wearing. Nothing. It only speaks to those who have been infected with COVID and basically how long they need to stay out of school and the protocol for returning back to work. The other one I have, which is the latest I've seen on the Mercer Island School District website, is the August 10th, is the August 5th one. And I went and printed off that, and I'm just gonna read it. I'm not gonna read the whole paragraph, it's not necessary. I'm just reading to the point I'm trying to convey, which is these are not requirements, they're recommendations. The CDC recommends universal indoor mask in school, or masking in schools and childcare. While masks are no longer required universally in schools or childcare centers, there may be situations, exceptions where they are needed. To go on, students, children, and staff may choose to wear a mask at school and in childcare settings. Nowhere in that paragraph, again, does it mention vaccinated or unvaccinated. There's no differentiation in that. I think the issue here is we all know by now, we've been living with COVID for a couple of years, that COVID can be transmitted amongst the vaxxed and unvaccinated people equally. I feel like being forced to wear a mask at school is I feel like I'm being penalized because I didn't take the shot. I can go anywhere. I can go anywhere outside of here and not wear a mask. I can go to the grocery store, I can go to the movie theater, I can go sit shoulder to shoulder with 10,000 people and more in the football stadium. It's not required to wear a mask. The only place that I am aware of to wear a mask is in a healthcare setting where it's a universal. Everyone has to do it. When you walk into the office, they don't say, oh, only the unvaxxed have to wear a mask. Everyone does. So basically, I realize my time is out. My point I'm making is I ask you that it should be a universal decision. Either everyone has to wear a mask or nobody has to wear a mask. And that is pretty much what I feel like. I feel like I've been totally discriminated against. I'm the only one of maybe 2 people at my school wearing a mask. Almost no one is wearing them. And I can tell you last week on second day of school, when I was handed the mask and told to put it on, the first day of school was awesome, smiles, high fives, smiling kids would smile back. The minute I put that mask on at school, the kids looked at me like I was from outer space. And the thing, and I've never cried at work before. A couple coworkers were asking me, you weren't wearing a mask yesterday, because I'm pretty outspoken. If someone asks me, I'm free to share, I'll share with what my opinion is. And I was telling them the minute I put on that mask, the thing that hit me the most was the kids looked at me like I was from outer space. And when I waved or smiled, they couldn't see my smile and they just turned away like they didn't even know me. And that's very bothersome to me. So I'm just asking you tonight, I know it's all of you, I think, who make this decision about mask wearing, and I just don't think it's fair. I think we should be, the unvaxxed should be treated the same and given the choice about masks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've got Scott Ritchie.
Oh, right now, sorry.
Yes, you're up.
Go. Hi, I'm Scott Ritchie. I am a school bus driver and a paraeducator at the middle school. Former parent, graduated off to UW, freshman year coming up. So thank you, Mercer Island School District, for getting them there. So I started in 2013, spring of 2013, as a school bus driver with the district. This is the first year I didn't drive Route 411. I've had kids from kindergarten all the way up through 8th grade, the bonds that I've created with the families. Parents know me, they know they can call me about anything. This year I switched for an extra 15 minutes a day to take a high school route, because that 15 minutes is about $1,500 a year, because it'll make a difference in my life as an empty nester even. So, and I've had a lot of kids working at the middle school. Are you driving this year? Parents text me the day before, are you going to be our driver? And that little change, I've lost that connection. Of course, I'll make that connection with the new kids for now on the high school and the Lake Ridge run. But I miss them already, just driving them to the middle school and over to Island Park, and even some of the parents I know here that work at Island Park, they were sitting there saying, talking to kids, because I was gone the first 3 days for family stuff back home. You're gonna have Scott, great guy, great driver, all this stuff, and where's Scott? He's not there. It's another driver. That driver who got my route can't even drive that route because he's covering all the other routes right now. And I sit there and look at Bellevue, Issaquah, and these other things. What's keeping me here? Right? There's nothing here. My son's no longer in the district, so I don't have to worry about, you know, working for the district to keep him in the district as we live in Bellevue the last couple of years. There's just nothing to keep me here, right? I could easily go to Bellevue, Issaquah. It'd be a shorter commute for me to go to Bellevue, just saving in the gas alone. So I asked to do whatever you guys can do to try to get that CBA completed, to get us what we deserve and everything. You heard, we're short drivers, and we are, I see it, there's drivers, one left, he's covering half of our most senior driver, who's out, most likely will not come back due to health conditions. And this driver is now working at the country club in maintenance, because it pays more than what the bus driving does, but he's just helping out right now. You probably guys all know Miguel Kerrigan, and then Karen, buying a house in Vegas. He came back and was driving today to help out, because he happened to be in town. It's pretty bad. You gotta find a way to keep all the staff here across all levels. And I ask you to do whatever you can, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. No problem. Stephanie John Lewis.
I have been in this district. I teach fourth grade over at Island Park. I've been in this district for 31 years. I've been to this podium a few times. Wasn't planning to speak, just wanted to come and listen, but I too am frustrated. I can't keep doing what I'm doing at the rate that I'm going second jobs to help pay for college. The cost of gas, the cost of rent, the cost of groceries to feed 2 boys. It's a lot of money. And to be a part of this district, I've raised my kids here. But the biggest issue I have is our sped. And I'm sorry to be emotional, but I'm dealing with children that I love, that are in my heart, that are part of my family. They're not getting the services that they need. We are doing them a disservice. If children that come into the classroom, I have nobody that is helping me who is helping them. And this is wrong. This is wrong for all of the children that I serve every day. My class is not getting the best of me because I'm pulled in 10 different directions, trying to help the children that need somebody with them to help them get through the day successfully. At Island Park, we have a resource room, or we have a special ed teacher and a special ed parapro for grades 3, 4, and 5. We have about 3 or 4 kids that really need more one-on-one support, and all the others. When I'm looking at the IEPs, the number of minutes that are met in the classroom, the number of minutes that are met in the resource room, they can't be met. And I'm supporting the parents in this because they need me to be their advocate. And they need our district to do something to get the right people in the classrooms to help support the students and to help support the teachers.
That concludes our public input for tonight. We're going to recess for 10 minutes to give people a chance to, yes, or do you want to get through the next one?
That's fine.
Yeah, we're going to recess for 10 minutes, give everyone a chance if they don't want to stay for the rest of the meeting. They can talk. Move around. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, thank you. Just to be clear, we heard from Tony on CBA, Shane, who's got 2 kids in Island Park receiving special ed services, Kate, who's concerned again about counselors, Alice, who is concerned about the raises that teachers need to get and the raises administration has already agreed to, but I don't think they get it until the start of the year. Kate Motter, who is, I love the quote, gets kids excited about commas. That'll remain with me forever. But I hear we also need the collective bargaining agreement to be done. Dana as well, regarding school bus drivers and making sure we're fair with other districts around us, including Bellevue and Issaquah. I love all the data, actually, not boring. Julie Admick, talking about wearing unvaccinated wearing masks at school and whether that should really be allowed. And then finally, Scott.
Whether that should be required.
Sorry, whether it should be required, yes. And then Scott, regarding bus drivers and making sure they're fairly paid. So I think that was,
Stephanie.
and then Stephanie, who's on top of us, special as well. So thank you very much. I appreciate, we all appreciate the feedback very much. Thank you for taking the time this evening to come and talk to us and give this out. I know collective bargaining is a difficult process and a difficult time. We obviously see strikes around us as well, and as well as other districts still continuing to bargain. It's a tough year for everybody. And the board is very concerned about all this. So thank you so much for taking the time. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, we are back, and the next item on our agenda is the student representatives report.
I'm excited to be back here for my senior year, my final year here as the senior school board rep. I want to congratulate Asha once again for being here, and I'm super excited. We have not met with our student advisory group yet, so we don't have a lot of student perspective yet, but we still have a lot to cover because it's the starting of the school year. Starting at our K through 5, the district was welcoming their newest class, the class of 2034. And they started on Tuesday, and our preschoolers started today. West Mercer, Lake Ridge, and Island Park all had some sort of back to school festivities, or are on September 15th, if that's an ice cream social, picnic, or back to school bash. And on the 21st, Northwood has their back to school family social.
The middle school is back in session with cross country and volleyball. Cross country is training hard for the first meet on September 22nd. And volleyball's first game is on September 19th. Clubs are also starting up next week at the middle school. Some of the clubs offered at the middle school include Games Club, Creative Writing, Dungeons and Dragons, and Terrific Tuesday. We're excited to meet our new middle schoolers who are joining our student advisory group for this school year.
At the high school, we welcomed the class of 2026 earlier this week. They had a morning to hang out with our link crew leaders, which is our seniors, juniors, and sophomores, which showed them around the schools, and we played some icebreakers and group games with them. And these 2 weeks of school have been full of spirit as always.
We're back in full swing with our fall sports, football, cross country, boys golf, girls soccer, girls flag, boys tennis, volleyball, boys water polo, and boys ultimate frisbee. A bunch of clubs and programs are back and hard at work, linked to our radio station, yearbook, journalism, international club, and so many more. ASB is preparing for the back to school assembly tomorrow, and students are really getting excited for the football game tomorrow also. If you have any questions about our report, please let us know. I'm super excited to work with each of you guys this year.
I'd actually love to know what like Tremendous Tuesday is or whatever it is in middle school. Terrific Tuesday. Anyway, at some point I would love to hear about Terrific Tuesday Club.
To my knowledge, they just hang out, and someone at the middle school might know better than I do, but I think they just hang out on Tuesdays during lunch and have fun. So that's what I got from it. Someone from the middle school knows any better.
Yeah.
It's called networking.
Excellent. Yeah, they can start on that. Thank you so much. Moving on to superintendent report.
Great, just a couple of things tonight. Wanted to begin, did get some word today that it sounds like the governor is going to be possibly making some changes to vaccine requirements and other guidelines later on this month. And so we will be continuing to work with our partners at King County Public Health on all of those. So that's something that we'll be watching. Also excited and really just want to express my appreciation to the Mercer Schools Foundation. Director Williams and myself had a chance to meet with their entire board this morning and really lay out our request for priority funding for the year. And as I understand it, it was unanimously approved. And it that supports teacher innovation grants, it supports fine art grants, it supports professional development, instructional materials, is such a key part. And so they'll be launching their campaign for their fall photothon coming up, but I just want to thank the Schools Foundation. The next piece is I want to welcome in our new Executive Director of Finance and Operations, Matt Sullivan. Obviously, he was mentioned a couple times here tonight during public comment, so he's already making a splash in the district. But it is great to have Matt on board, as I've had a chance to share with you before, but just the background that he brings in public school finance, but also public finance working for cities before that. He has a tremendous track record and tenure on Vashon Island in their school district. Comes highly recommended, as I've stated before, by some of our partners that we work with external entities. So it's been great. He's already hit the ground running, working on pieces. So Director Sullivan, would you like to say a few things? And I just want to say thanks for being here.
First off, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to serve. It's day 3 for me, not 3 months, but just day 3. There's a lot of work ahead. I think you all know that as we hear from the comments tonight, but also I'm starting to see. Be patient with me. My goals with my team, my departments, my directors is transparency and accountability and efficiency. And you'll start to see that as I present reports to you, most likely September 22nd to start, but also the year end coming in October and November. And I encourage you to ask any question you want of me. If you'd like me outside the meeting, please do so. I learn as much as you will learn as we go through this process. Despite I was in Vashon for 8.5 years, with a perfect audit track record for 8.5 of those years. Districts and public agencies are always different. Despite the school district, there's always nuances and new things to learn. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, welcome. CFO is a very important job. I think, obviously, second most important job, I think, next to the superintendent from the board perspective right now. I know we care about our teachers and our students, but it starts with making sure we're financially solvent and that allows us to do the best for our kids and our students and our teachers. So thank you very much, welcome, and look forward to working with you, and hopefully through board interactions, we'll get to the right level of transparency and just depth of discussion and expectations around this to make sure we stay solvent. So thank you.
Lastly, just an update, received an email mid-August, but I've been hanging on to it and it will become apparent here for in a moment. This was from Patrick Yamashita, who was with the city. It said, I was CC'd. It said, "Good morning, Andrew," for Andrew Howison. "I just wanted to let you know that I've reviewed and approved your right-of-way use permit. Our permitting team will be processing the permit later this week and will reach out to Valerie P. Ryan for payment and the permit fee. I know that you are new to applying for a right-of-way use permit, so I wanted to give you some feedback. The route map that you updated was clear and informative. This will be a great template for other students to use in the future. For perspective, your map was better than many that I received from contractors who often apply for permits. Your detailed description of the logistics was very helpful for me to read and understand what is going to happen and how things will be implemented. The only correction I had to make was to update the cone color to blue in the logistics since you changed it on the map. Overall, you did a very good job. And I just wanted to acknowledge that because, you know, we have a long history of working with the city and always trying to get better. And it's clear that you've made some improvements, Andrew. So thanks for your leadership in high school. You did. And that's my report.
Great. Okay. Partial governance process monitoring is next. Board policy 1005, board officers, legislative priorities for WASDA Legislative Assembly.
So yeah, so the way it works, it's my understanding, and anyone feel free to correct me, is that at the end of the month in the General Assembly, there's a whole list of proposals. It's just an up or down vote whether or not districts support the proposal or do not support the proposal. After that, there then is a ranking form or prioritization that is sent around, and the districts can weigh in on what their most important items are. So I sent around a Google survey form using a similar form that Tam put together last year. So thank you very much. That was very helpful to have good templates that just lists all the positions and there's a yes or no. I also, even though the prioritization form doesn't come out for another month, just as people, to the extent like you're taking a look at the handbook, if you just want to say hey, this is seems like more important. And some of them that are important aren't necessarily actionable, particularly the permanent positions. Sometimes they can be, and sometimes there's a line, right? Like when it comes to the prototypical funding model, is that aspirational? Is that legislative? I mean, it's a little bit, both, right? There was just a few. I mean, I don't think it necessarily needs to be a discussion. And everyone has the Google forms. I thought there was just 5 proposals in the handbook that one might want to give consideration for. One is for the analysis of an equity-based educational system for to be conducted by someone from, the affected group. In my view, like well-intentioned, but I think the ramifications, like taken to its end, whether it is who teaches, particular courses or classes, I just don't think is a good template. So that'd be one. I think that's actually like policy one, the first one, that where there, and I'm just highlighting the ones where I disagree from like whatever the recommendation is, or there's questions. Another, I think I highlighted this to the board before, but it's on sexual harassment, assault, and abuse prevention. It would be making schools much more intimately involved in something that might be best handled by the criminal justice system, particularly when it comes, and it's and it's explicit about this, for including digital channels. It just strikes me as perhaps unworkable in a role that isn't best suited for school districts to sort of take on additional
Digital harassment. for
digital harassment that somehow would not rise to the level of a criminal matter and involve the police. I just think like without guidance, and I mean that's an enormous role for a school district. I think there's real questions if that's best done by the school district.
I assume you mean things that like aren't even happening at school.
Yeah, like, I mean, particularly with like digital, and the idea is, what it does affect, which it does, right? Like, like people's ability perhaps to learn productively in school. Similar to that, there's one that's on social media reporting, point of contact, like which makes it even more explicit that there's basically for like takedown notices for social media that they need to designate, they need to be responsive to someone who's a designee from the school district in order to say like, hey, you have to take down particular content. Again, I don't think that's a role that, I think there should be some pause of whether school districts should take that on. One other one that's, it sounds like pretty like, I think good at first read, but there's one that's called, I forget what the name is, it's number 22 in the handbook. What it would capture would when it comes to gender identity in sports, it would make WASDA sort of involved in that. And I think there's a question if there's a clear direction of what districts should do. I'm a cyclist. I know that certain cycling events have like a binary or a non-binary designation, but it's a little bit different than, sort of what one expresses as for identity when it comes to athletics. In my view, I think it's premature for WASDA to take any position to start sort of inserting itself into that matters when, like, I mean, I don't know what is correct, and I think a lot of people don't know what's correct. And the last one, it's a little bit like more fine grained, but it's number 38. Which basically has to do with expanding some language actually for CTE, like readiness programs, which I think is well intended, but to the extent that there's a finite pie and it would take out like for that the state would fund more major renovations. So like, for instance, like our culinary arts, right? Like part of the change in the language would mean that the state should start providing for it, which is maybe good. And maybe the state will cough up additional dollars, but maybe those dollars will also just produce like a finite pie that already is. So that one, I don't know how I feel, but like those are sort of like the high level, just mark yes or no. Know that like sort of the default, I think is, and most of it's clerical, is like what was the record.
If you check the box that says this is a priority, you lose your yes or no vote.
Oh, did
You know
you?
that?
I did not intend for that. I didn't think I checked that. I will revise the form because that was not, like, that was just collect additional. Because the ranking form, as I said. So I will update the form, so hopefully you can.
Another one that people might want to not just like gloss over is there's a question about developing a policy, WASDA developing a policy on how to teach controversial issues, like requiring equal, like fair treatment for both sides of every issue. I'm not gonna say I'm, but another thing, I just want to like read that, especially carefully, so.
No, I think that's an amendment, but yeah, like,
Yeah,
I think the
it's an
language, I think the language does amend a little bit to that one. All right, so like, I'll try to get the form working. If you have any problems with the form, that's entirely my fault. Like the one thing I added that was not on Pam's, like, doesn't work.
I already made my
So-
notes, so don't erase my
Yeah,
notes, if you
okay,
can make sure you
okay.
capture those
Okay,
before you
yes,
mess
yes.
around with the form,
Yeah.
like, I'm not. So, thank you. When do you need that from everyone by?
By the, like, it's by September 29th.
Okay.
Well, usually, when we get the 15, like when we get our parties, I think you announce it back to the board, usually before you do it. So if there's a board meeting before that, then you can present
Oh,
what we have all.
yeah, but I'll take a look to see if there is one in early November, but I can say like otherwise.
Yeah, just kind of let us know. But yeah, the process doesn't really matter because you vote yes or no everything.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you for that. Okay, we have board policy 1800-09, communication and support to the board, proposed revisions to board policy 3520, which relates to student fees, fines, and charges.
So I'm going to turn it over to Aaron here in a moment. Just a reminder that the fees and whatnot, we set that as part of the budget. And then we can always review and look at that again. But this is really coming out of some changes that have come about based on legislative action. So kick it over to you, Director Battersby.
We look at this policy, really the changes are largely related to ensuring the superintendent or designee can approve the use of supplementary supplies. And then also removing a reference to withholding students' records for failure to pay fines or fees, because that is no longer a legal option, so we can't have that in our policy. That's the primary thing, and there's also consistent with our ongoing commitment to gender inclusion, there's changes from his and her to the students' parents, etc. So those are the primary changes here. And then again, cross references to both the other policies and legal references.
Does anyone have any questions or comments on it?
So we used to send out email to students saying you need to pay your fines before you can graduate. Does that mean that that's no longer going out, that type of email?
So there are certain things that we can or can't withhold. What we can't withhold is we can no longer say we won't release your grades, your transcripts to colleges. We're not going to release these to you or whatnot. We can't withhold those. We can withhold the diploma, which means we can hold back the diploma or participation in graduation. I guess the graduation process we can still do, but we can't withhold grades and transcripts, which would impact a student's ability to either go to a new school or go on to college and different components.
Yeah, so since you brought it up, like, do we have a problem with it? And when there is a student with fee, what do we do about it if they can't pay?
So it depends on the student. We do have a list of, students who have applied for free and reduced lunch and then have qualified for other supports, and then we waive fees in those instances. It's not I wouldn't say it's a large problem, but we do get some food bills through Chartwells that get charged over time. We have a real commitment to not having students go hungry. And so really being lenient on that, and that can add up over time. But it's not a huge problem for our school district, I would say. So we're just really trying to map what's changed in the law.
And there is an option, it's highlighted here. It used to be called voluntary work, but it's been changed, just the language, community service as another way to basically compensate them.
And I'm sure, like me, I think I received it for all my kids, that I forgot to pay something, so it's.
Yes, they're very sure.
It's that reminder.
Yeah.
I move we approve board policy 1809. I'm sorry, board policy 3520, student fees, fines, and charges.
I second.
All in favor of approving these proposed revisions, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. That passes by a vote of 5-0.
Aye.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
I can't like a post-it note. I'm so sorry. Would you guys vote on these proposed revisions as well? So our student reps.
I'll start. Aye.
Anybody want to say nay? No. Okay, that passes by I don't know, how to say this, advisory vote of 7-0, recorded vote of 5-0. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for speaking up. Next, we have board policy 1809, communication and support to the board, proposed revisions to board policy 6112, which relates to the lease of school district facilities.
I was gonna move that, approve it unless.
I'm fine with that.
Second.
All in favor? Well, students first. Okay, I remembered that. I was just remember. Our student representatives, all in favor of approving the revisions to board policy 6112, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Okay, that's two. Someone needs to write me a new script. 2-0 from our student representatives, and then other board members, all in favor of approving these revisions, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. That passes by an advisory vote of 7-0, a recorded vote of 5-0. Thank you. Okay, next up, same category, enrollment update. This is just for information.
So I had in the initial update on the enrollments heading into this week, because we have a short, kind of the short week with the holiday. So we collected information from September 6th, and that was on the original posting that went up to the public, you as a board. Today, we added the September 7th count as well, so that you can kind of see a little bit of the cleanup work that continues to happen. You can, I think what's important in this report is just to take a look at that difference between the head count and FTE, and reminding us all that while we have over 4,000 students in our school district, they represent, not all of them represent a full FTE. And as you can see, as it moves from kindergarten through the senior year in high school, you can see the discrepancy gets greater as you get towards 11th and 12th grade. Couple things that come up with that, or what caused that. One is certainly students starting to realize I'm in my senior year, I have plenty of credits. I registered in the spring because I thought I wanted all those credits, and then they decided, I don't really need to take that extra class. And so there are some drops that happen from our seniors. We also have seniors and other students who are moving into running start or taking advantage of those opportunities. And then we have some who take classes in privet or other out of district options. So where do you kind of see that discrepancy? Those are the three main factors that drive that. So I just historically, and then I'll kick it over to you, Director Sullivan, if there's comments you'd like to make. Just kind of historically, over the last month, we've been obviously watching enrollment very closely. We were as high as 3991 at our peak on FTE. And then it kind of, as students started to bring in and do their withdrawals and transfers, we then dipped down, as you can see, to 3941. And then based on cleanup that we did, including students who were coming to school who were sick to start the school year, we can't count them. And then they finally come to school. It looks like we're starting to level out somewhere in that 3956. And I think that's going to be pretty constant. The next big date for us will be October 1st, following this. Director Sullivan.
Yes. It's 3956, as Brandon mentioned, budget was 3880. So it's an increase of 76 FTE over budget.
When it comes to the difference between headcount and FTE, is that pretty stable over time, or have we seen that there's an increased like sort of diversions, you know, for the various reasons that you mentioned when high schoolers, you know, get to the 11th and 12th grade in particular.
In terms of the pattern that we've seen.
Yeah,
over
yeah,
time.
I mean,
Yep, it does, that is the typical pattern that we see. What we've seen a little less of is some of our middle schoolers. And there used to be a little bit more of a difference between some of our headcount and FTE, and that's really leveled out. There's almost perfect parity there. And so, you know, that was also due to the pandemic to some degree, but 11th and 12th grade is where we see the greatest deviation.
do we track like the number of students that do Running Start and how many semesters like that is? And then we're be able to sort of get a better understanding exactly if it's all Running Start or if it's some perhaps like taking a senior sabbatical, you know, but reduce like course load. But I would be curious, like at least for me, like nothing like urgent, but just a little dive like into, you know, the difference. At some point.
Yeah, absolutely possible. That not only track that immensely because it was so critical for every FTE that we could gain, if you will. So it was Running Start or it was for us off-island activities, etc.
I think it's also helpful for just the public to understand, because I think a lot of the public thinks like, you see a student, that counts as one student. So it's.
What's the minimum number of classes for a high school student to be considered like a 1.0 for?
6 classes.
Oh, okay.
It's right now we have 68 Running Start students. Only 17 of those are full-time Running Start. The rest of them are taking part-time. So those are the types of reports we have. We also have really started tracking the number of students who are taking courses at Privet as we start thinking about, you know, that's FTE as well and what's driving that. And there's very good reasons why students take courses at Privet or Yellowwood or others. But what are some things we can do to continue to make our experience in high school a place that, you know, maybe there's less demand for that.
I really appreciate that way of thinking because ultimately it's best for our students to be close to home. Anytime they have to leave an island is actually a burden for parents. And so if we're thinking about what needs are we not meeting and how we can meet those needs, I think parents would really appreciate hearing that and really it will make our program better. Right. So I appreciate you thinking in that direction.
So no action on this, more information, and then as we do budget reports, Director Sullivan already has lots of ideas about how to improve this and enhance this so that you can see different trends. And we know that we're under 5.5% on the fund balance, and per your new expectation of superintendent and team, you'll be getting probably more reports than maybe would be normal, but that's your expectation, and we want that level of transparency right now.
And by the way, I really did like some headcount of FTE. That was a super, you know, helpful addition.
Thank you. Great. Okay, moving on, we have the consent agenda.
I move we approve the consent agenda as well.
Second.
With our student representatives on the consent agenda, all student representatives in favor of approving the consent agenda as published, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Okay, that's 2-0 for student representatives, and all other board members in favor of approving the consent agenda as published, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. That passes by a vote of 5-0. Thank you. Friendships. So, superintendent announcements.
Just a couple here. One is that you'll notice on the agenda tonight, we're going to try to add this because it will be a lot easier for taking minutes. But if we do, this goes back to your discussion at the last meeting, if you do remove something from the consent agenda, we now have a place in the agenda where it can just go to, so that we don't have to figure out, is that partial governance, full governance? It'll be a lot easier for Michelle when she's doing the minutes, and I think it'll flow a little smoother there. So That was Michelle's idea, so full credit to her. We'll see how it works. You can give us feedback and we can kind of go from there. And the other one is Chris Ingalls from King 5 did a request for data, information on the condition of our schools and our HVAC systems. It's a follow-up to what was asked for during the pandemic. We'll comply and we'll turn everything in. If it looks like they're gonna run a story, I'll certainly let you know. But we continue to have excellent reports on ours. I'm not concerned about it, but just an announcement. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Board announcements, inquiries, and reports. Do you have any other?
The only other thing is just, I guess, Matt and I'll have to get together sometime along with Fred, to talk about sort of potential legislation that might be beneficial to give, you know, districts like ours more flexibility. I think we're seeing that it's not just the pandemic, but sort of post-McCleary and the effects that it has on certain districts, particularly in affluent and high cost of areas such as ours, when we don't have the ability to move funds around or to make adjustments that are locally appropriate, that it creates, you know, unsustainable budgets over the years. And so like some of the ideas, I think there's like some, you know, that range from giving, you know, more ability for, you know, local municipalities to have a, you know, levy cap to be increased. I think some others are revenue neutral, and like, for instance, accounting. And if there is direction that, you know, legislatively would be then given to OSPI when it comes to the public school accounting manual and how to make non-reciprocal reimbursements from the capital and technology fund to the general fund, and that wouldn't require, you know, if that would have a meaningful impact from an accounting perspective, it wouldn't necessarily, you know, require a vote. It would just be giving sort of more tools in the proverbial toolbox for districts like ours to sort of exercise discretion and flexibility when it comes to spending. So I'd like to, you know, we look forward to having a discussion on that and sort of, you know, what is a practical matter can we do to sort of, you know, help navigate sort of from the position where we are. I welcome it.
I also just wanted to clarify back when we were talking about the WASDA positions, you had given the example of the CTE, the one position that was related to CTE funding, that the project at the high school for culinary was actually already paid for out of CTE funds primarily. So, not, I get your point.
You said that to be even more extensive.
Right. Just wanted to like set the record straight there. Okay. Other announcements, inquiries, and reports.
I have an announcement. So on October 22nd, a group of Asian American Pacific Islander parents, they're hosting a celebration party for our new superintendent, Fred Bundle. It is spearheaded by Sophie Yang and other AAPI parents. It is community organized, community sponsored. It's gonna be at China Harbor. It's gonna be a really great evening to, it's not a fundraising event. It is really just to welcome Fred, you know, as a new superintendent from the AAPI community. So there'll be more information to come. If you should be getting invitation from them. So I hope that you're able to attend. It is dressed to impress. So just a heads up. But the parents and the community is really excited.
Okay. Next up in that case is board assignments. This is my favorite part of this job. Really, genuinely, I love doing this. Scratches some OCD itch that I have. Okay, you've all had a chance to look over the list that was posted as part of the agenda, I hope. And remember that everyone needs to sign on for 4 positions, if at all humanly possible. I have extremely limited schedule capability this year, as does Tam. So I'm gonna go first and ask for some spots, and if anybody wants to fight me for those spots, we can do that. I would really, president and vice president count as positions, so you and I both have one checked off already, David. I would like to ask for, to stay on the Superintendent's Equity Advisory Council, if at all possible, even though that position only goes with the vice presidency, because it's one of very few things that takes my schedule. So if everyone's okay with that, then I'm gonna put myself in that slot. And Tam, I believe, can make the PTA DEI committee, which is Monday evenings. Can you?
Yeah, so Wednesday and Fridays are my day.
Those are your better days?
My better days, but then if it's in the evening.
Yeah.
Because I teach in the morning. So yes, the PTA DEI
Okay.
at 7 is
Yeah.
right.
And
And
just
thank you for your flexibility in working around my schedule.
just so you know, the DEI committee meeting, the first one is next Monday.
Okay.
So you wanna jump on that, I can connect you to them.
They will send me the information.
They'll send you the info, yeah. Okay, and then of all the other positions, I can only do West Mercer PAC or Lake Ridge PAC. So let's go ahead and assign some other slots, but if we could save West Mercer PAC or Lake Ridge PAC for me, that would be great. Otherwise, I just can't do any more committees. So,
Can I get West Mercer? Can you pick
yeah, that's fine.
Lake Ridge?
I would love to go to high school this year.
Okay.
I'd like middle school.
Middle school. And Dan, you already have 2 positions automatically, because you're our ledge rep, so you are the ledge rep and you have PTA advocacy committee. Yes,
Yeah.
so that you've got 3, so you only need 1 more. Okay. Keep that in your head. Okay, we still need someone for Island Park.
4 PM on Tuesdays.
That is, yes, 4 PM on Tuesdays.
That's actually easier for me than Northwood. Later in the day, it's easier. I can do it
Okay,
unless the other one's.
that will leave you as Northwood, David.
Yeah,
Okay
that's
with that?
Okay.
Okay. David is Northwood. And, sorry, Deborah is, sorry, everyone who's watching, this is not the most fascinating procedure. Okay. So we've got everything covered down to PTA council.
PTA council.
David, do you want to do that?
Wednesdays at 9:30.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, no, it's really good. That's what I'm trying to make it work. Yeah, I'll go. At 9:30. Yeah, I should probably go try to do that.
Okay, if you can't, you can try to something
Might
else.
be like.
Yeah.
Something else.
Okay. And David, you now have 3 things out of 4, so you just need 1 more. Okay, we've got Superintendent Community Advisory. Tam or Deborah.
Wednesdays at 9:30 to 10:30.
There's only 3 of them now. Number 5.
Yeah, I can either, because it's one Wednesday, so I can do 5 or 6, 5 or 7.
You do 5 or 7.
Yeah, advisory, I can do that. if
I can
you
take
want.
another side of that. It doesn't matter.
Which one do you?
How about Dan, can you do Superintendent Community Advisory? Is that okay?
Yeah, number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you are filled up, and then Sam,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just Wednesday, I can do Wednesday.
Sam, can you do Superintendent Teaching and Learning Advisory? Sure. Okay, great. So you have 3 things, you need 1 more. Deborah, you need 2 more. And so we've got,
I think there's only 1 more, which is fine.
well,
Right.
you said directors group, so you're doing said directors group, so.
Well, maybe.
Maybe, if it happens.
I know.
And inclusive practices.
And I can stay in that unless someone else wants it.
Is the West Mercer, the West Mercer PAC and the superintendent is at the same time?
Oh, is it really?
We'll check the days.
Mercer packet is 10, 12.
It is, well, sometimes.
So it is. No, it is,
There's one there.
You're
Yeah.
doing STLA, right?
Yeah,
So that's 3 to 4:30.
this is 3
3
to
to
4.
4, but it's the same date. Oh, no, wait, one of those.
One of them is.
2:15. Just one of them is, I can do one. I can do that first one.
And 12.
I'll do that one, so we can still do them both. Okay, and so who we have on inclusive practices, Dan is full up and Dan has three.
If you're full, Deborah.
I'm not, I know I'm not.
No,
sure. I
David,
know
you're
it's
full. No, you've got one
I
slot.
think I've got one slot left.
You want to do inclusive practices?
Unless Deborah wants to stay in there. I'm happy to do it, but if you want to stay in there.
You both have 3, so either of you can. You want, why don't you just stay in it? Okay. Okay, so I think that's everything. Let me just run down this one more time really fast. Highland Park, yes. Lake Ridge, yes. Northwood, yes. West Mercer, yes. IMS, yes. MIHS, yes. Board President, Board Vice President, PTA Council, yes. DEI Committee, yes. SEAC, yes. Community Superintendent Community Advisory, yes. STLA, yes. Ledger PTA Advocacy Committee, Inclusive Practices, and East Side Directors Group. Yes.
As East Side Directors, is that 2 or 1?
It's kind of 2, but it sort of can be 1.5, I think. Like, we're not, which would be me, would be the other half if I just stay on it, but we're not even sure when it's
Yeah,
meeting or
it's
if it's
not.
meeting or what it's covering. So we can always bring it back to the board.
It'd
at
be
some
way
later
less
point.
intense than it was.
Yeah,
And I think at the word on the street is that they want to focus on special education funding and mental health services.
Yeah.
Moving on from COVID.
Yeah.
So they're looking forward.
I'm happy to just stay on there. If that's okay. Yeah, okay, so we need to actually vote on these committee assignments. So do I have a motion?
I move we approve the committee assignments as discussed.
Second. Student reps, would you like to vote on these committee assignments?
I dare you.
Yeah. Well, that's too short. Okay, all opposed? No, Sadie, no. Okay, all other board members in favor of these committee assignments as detailed, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. That passes by a advisory vote of 7-0, a recorded vote of 5-0. That is that. Next week, yeah, yeah.
So everybody will email me the meeting time, because I live off my calendar.
Yes,
I have-
yes, I'm gonna give this,
I
I'm
know.
gonna give, if you want to come up after me and like take a photo of this.
No, I have it down. I just want to make
Okay.
sure that someone's going to email.
You're gonna get an invitation, I'm gonna get this to
Wait,
Michelle,
and
yeah, Michelle is going
Yeah.
to make sure the committees know who's on them.
Okay, if it doesn't pop on my email, it doesn't have to be.
It's not, yeah, yeah, we got it, so we just need a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I second.
Aye.
All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. That passes by a vote of 5-0, and we are adjourned, and it is 7:51.
Good job.
That was-